Okay, moving on to a situation we saw in the Champions League final this year, which is where a team has a man sent off fairly early and you're left with 10 versus 11. Yeah. There's two ways you can look at this. First of all, you could look at it from Arsenal's point of view. They were down to 10 men. They're playing one of the best sides in Europe with some of the most skillful players. And they contained Barcelona superbly. How would you do that as a coach if you suddenly find yourself a man down after just 20 minutes?
You do hopefully what Arsene and his team did so well. Unfortunately, at the end, the weight of the attacking play and the amount of skill that the Barcelona players had at their disposal, I suppose, as a team, weighed heavily. And of course, what happens is, as the game goes on, the fatigue factor starts to hit in, and it's harder and harder for the players to do the amount of running that was necessary. For example, Youngbae on the left-hand side did a fantastic job supporting Ashley Cole. I mean, they were under constant pressure from the Barcelona attack on that side of the field, and yet not only was he able to double up on Julie, he also did quite a lot of work getting forward as well. The only problem is, of course, that you go from 4-5-1 or 4-4-2, where you really can support your front player quite well with one of your midfield players. Suddenly that option tends to go out of the window when you're pushed back, and you've still got your bank of four defending in midfield, but you really are very, very short of the other player who's going to do a good job supporting your centre forward when you get forward, or the man who'll give the freedom even for the wide midfield players to get forward much more than they were able to do. And I think that they were protecting a lead, which is also a little bit dangerous in the sense that you've got something to protect. So you tend to sort of focus your mind on protecting that lead, and the longer the game goes on, the closer you get to taking the trophy. But then, when the equaliser comes in, what was it, the 80-something minute, it was quite late in the game, then it's very hard then to switch over and produce the attacking play because you put so much effort into your defending. And as far as Barcelona are concerned, I thought they did everything that a team has to do in this situation. They're playing against 10 men now, but really all that means is their goal is under a little bit less threat. But for them to score a goal is every bit as difficult as when they were playing against 11 men. You might even argue it becomes slightly more difficult because the onus is now totally on them to do all the attacking, and as long as this team with 10 men is defending well and kicking the ball away and not conceding a goal, they're the winners. And you're the loser because you're not able to break them down.
And the bizarre thing was that it seemed that Barcelona actually moved more and worked harder than Arsenal with 11 men, because they were just looking to get that goal, because once Arsenal had gone in front, they just sat back and they just let Barcelona work and work and work.
Well, what impressed me about the Barcelona team there was, as you say, the amount of work they put in to getting the goal that they needed to bring them back into the game, because they knew, of course, that if they could get back into the game with a goal, then they got a little bit of a chance. But at the same time, Arsenal were not lacking in attacking potential, even with 10 men. I mean, Youngbae and Henry caused them quite a lot of problems. So you've got to weigh things up. You can't just throw players forward willy-nilly. You've still got to protect your own goal and not fall for that sucker punch where you go 2 goals to 0 down, then the game is all over. You've got to still make certain that it stays at 1-0 whilst committing enough players forward to give these defenders problems. And I thought that Barcelona got that absolutely right. They defended pretty well and restricted Arsenal's counter-attacking to 3-4 chances, which is, reasonable in a game of that nature. And yet at the same time, they got the fullbacks forward all the time to join Eto'o, and as a result, of course, they were able to create a lot of half situations and at least make certain that the Arsenal back four had to work extremely hard, and the midfield players had to work extremely hard to keep them at bay, because they're a very skillful team. They don't give the ball away. So even when you pressurise them, they move it somewhere else and change the play, and you've got to shuttle across and work. You've done the job down this side, and all of a sudden the ball's back here, switched over to Julie, you've got to do the job down that side. Then it comes back out, in, out, and they moved the ball around so well that the Arsenal team had to work extremely hard. And it was an interesting tactical battle, and You know, both teams, I think, deserve enormous credit for the way they approach the game.